Now at 6 o'clock on WKYT this morning, a man is fighting for his life after an overnight shooting in Lexington. WKYT's Mike Byer has the details on the investigation. Plus, friends and family are still looking for a missing Northern Kentucky woman who police say was murdered, while friends say they're not giving up on finding Crystal Warren. And Clinton wants Trump to show people his taxes. We'll have the latest on both campaigns coming up on WKYT this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good Saturday morning to you. I'm Michelle Chamberlain. Sean Moody has the morning off, as does Mike Linden, but that's okay. We've got meteorologist Jim Caldwell here with us this morning. Hey, Jimmy, I lost my umbrella a couple weeks ago. I just discovered that, and I'm pretty sad. I bet you did. Anyway, am I going to need that today?
You are going to need it. Unfortunately, you don't have one. We're going to be tracking showers and thunderstorms today, showers and thunderstorms tomorrow, showers and thunderstorms Monday. You are really going to need it. 78 right now in Lexington, though, with the humidity showing up out there. It actually has a heat index to it as well. We're bumped up just a couple of degrees. Very warm start to this Saturday. We are tracking showers and thunderstorms around Kentucky. Had a good little push late last night, passed right through here in Lexington. Notice the pavement was still wet out there this morning as I was coming in here to work. So a little bit active through the overnight. Here's forecast today. Feels like temperature of 80 in Lexington with that southerly wind. We go through the rest of the day. Scattered showers and thunderstorms start developing into the afternoon and evening, and the pattern holds all the way through this weekend. Maybe even some heavy rain potential. We will track the threat coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Jimmy. Lexington police say a man is in critical condition after he was shot overnight. It happened at a home on Dominican Drive around 2:30 this morning. That's not far from Whitney Young Park off of Georgetown Street and New Circle Road. WKYT's Mike Byers live in Lexington with what we know so far this morning. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Michelle. I'm at UK Hospital where a man was taken after an overnight shooting. Now, police are working to gather all the details for this investigation. But here's what we know right now. Police say they went to the home in the 400 block of Dominican Drive just after 2:30 this morning. They say a man had multiple gunshot wounds, one of those to the leg. At first, police told us the man had non-life-threatening injuries and was taken to UK Hospital. But we got an update from police about an hour later, and they told us the victim was in surgery with life-threatening injuries. At last check with police, the man was in critical condition, but we don't know the status of his surgery. Now, police don't know what led up to the shooting. They tell us they're still working on figuring out those details. Lexington police don't have a description for the suspected shooter, but they did use a burgundy passenger car, was seen leaving the area when the man was shot. We're told that car was swiped with another car as it left. So it has some damage to it. Again, police tell us the victim in the shooting is in critical condition here at UK Hospital. That's the latest. Live in Lexington, I'm Mike Byer, WKYT.
Thank you, Mike. Friends and family are still looking for a missing Northern Kentucky woman who police say was murdered. Police say Crystal Warner and her boyfriend, Robert Jones, were last seen alive last month in Washington County. They found Jones's remains last Friday in Clark County, but they haven't found Warner's remains. Family and friends have split up into groups in different areas from Washington County to Montgomery County. They say they're not giving up until they find Crystal.
I know for a fact that's what he would want. And, you know, it kind of brings peace to me and other guys in the group to know that somebody cares and somebody does want to do that for him, even though he can't.
Family and friends continue to ask people to keep their eyes open for anything suspicious around their properties and call in any tips that could help them find Crystal's body. A federal jury has returned its verdict against 4 people on trial for a vote-buying case out of Magoffin County. The case stems from the 2014 elections. The jury convicted Magistrate Gary Reisner, Tammy Jo Reisner, and Larry Shepard on conspiracy charges. The verdicts came after several hours of deliberations. They'll be sentenced in December. The jury acquitted Mason Daniels. The family of a Laurel County woman police say was killed by her boyfriend feels justice wasn't served in the case. Police say Christopher Bird shot Shannon Engel during an argument in July of last year. Bird had been charged with murder, but this week a Laurel County jury convicted him of reckless homicide and recommended a 1-year sentence. Since Bird has served more than 400 days in jail, he was released on Thursday. Engel's family says they are furious with the sentence.
I can't believe that they have set a murderer that will kill again on the streets.
Court documents show in February of 2015, Bird was charged with assault and admitted to police that he punched Engel in the head. But that case was not allowed to be used in court during Bird's trial. Investigators think a fire that damaged a home on the University of Kentucky campus was intentionally set. Now, we first told you about this story yesterday morning. Lexington firefighters say they were called to an abandoned home on South Limestone near Maxwellton Court. Investigators think the fire had been burning for a while before they were called. No one was injured, but they say this arson caused extensive damage.
I mean, anytime, that we have someone that has intentionally set a fire, we don't want that to happen again. I mean, it's a crime, but it's also a danger to obviously other people, to our people. A fire in a floor in a building, that can be a problem. We have people that have suffered some fatal injuries falling through floors. So we would like for this to get wrapped up.
Now, so far, no one has been arrested in this case, and the University of Kentucky did send out a crime bulletin after the fire. Governor Matt Bevin has appointed 3 people to the University of Kentucky Board of Trustees. One of them, Kelly Nightcraft, was the co-chairwoman of the governor's inaugural committee. She's also a major Republican fundraiser. The other 2 appointees are Jennifer Barber and Michael Christian. All 3 will serve terms that expire in 2022. A new poll shows that Donald Trump is losing ground in critical battlefield states. Hillary Clinton released her 2015 taxes, and she's putting pressure on the so-called billionaire to make his public. Craig Boswell has the latest on both campaigns.
Reince, come here for a second, please.
Donald Trump and RNC Chairman Reince Priebus put on a united front during rallies in Pennsylvania.
But we're raising a lot of money for the Republicans.
Frustrated with Trump's messaging, some Republicans urged the RNC to cut off funds to his campaign Thursday. Trump tried to walk back his comment that President Obama and Hillary Clinton were the founders of ISIS.
Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. Then, but not that sarcastic, to be honest with you.
The Republican nominee also toured a manufacturing plant and talked with workers in Altoona. The Republican nominee hasn't won Pennsylvania since 1988.
The only way we can lose, in my opinion, I really mean this, Pennsylvania, is if cheating goes on.
A new national poll shows Clinton opening a wider lead over Trump in the battleground states of Colorado, Virginia, and North Carolina.
But the race is tighter in Florida, where Clinton has a 5-point lead. Clinton released her 2015 tax return Friday. Earlier this week, she called on Trump to do the same.
He refuses to do what every other presidential candidate in decades has done and release his tax returns.
Clinton's return shows she and Bill made more than $10 million and donated $1 million to charity, most of it to the Clinton Family Foundation. Craig Boswell, CBS News, the White House.
Some old friends gathered one last time at the former Bluegrass Stockyards location in Lexington. The site on Lyle Industrial Avenue was destroyed in a massive fire in January, but the Stockyards' 4th annual Internet Roundup Sale and Barbecue was held there yesterday. It was billed as the last hurrah for the old location. Buyers bid on cattle that were shown on big screens. Stockyard leaders say people have fond memories of the old location.
I mean, there's a heart tug there, but it is. I mean, it's rewarding to know that you see the big crowd and the facility, the business was really important to people, like we've talked about, and it's rewarding to see that.
A new home for Bluegrass Stockyards is being built off of Ironworks Pike at the Fayette-Scott County line. Stockyard leaders hope it's ready for business by this time next year. This weekend is the 2016 Crave Lexington Food and Music Festival. The festival starts today at noon at the Masterson Station Park Fairgrounds. There's going to be food, music, bounce houses, and some craft brews and wine for the adults. Admission is $6. Kids 10 and younger get in free. Parking is also free. Your time now is 6:09 on this Saturday morning. WKYT this morning is just getting started. A new study shows more kids are living with their grandparents because their parents are struggling with drugs. We'll take a closer look at that study coming up.
And we are going to be tracking rounds of showers and thunderstorms this weekend, starting with a few today, but even more as we get into your Sunday. We'll take a closer look coming up.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
A couple of decent thunderstorms passing through the area overnight, but right now we are nice and calm across Kentucky. You can see clean sweeps here with the Defender Radar Network. Nothing major happening yet. Now, as we progress through the rest of the weekend, we'll probably run into more chances of showers and some thunderstorms, maybe more heavy rainmakers. That's going to be an issue that we face, which could also lead to some flash flood concerns as well. Area of low pressure. I was talking about this earlier in the week, and it's still hanging around. What it's been doing is it's been feeding moisture to the north. Now it's actually got something to feed it into, and that's a frontal boundary. A frontal boundary that is going to sit almost where it is right now. It's going to make some forward progression, but when it does that, that just enhances the chances of rain for the folks across Kentucky. So as this low feeds that front, we're going to keep the chances of showers and thunderstorms alive and well. That's why we have a flash flood watch, which includes just a few of our counties. But the whole point is here is to notice where it's located. It's located mainly across southern parts of Indiana, Ohio, and northern Kentucky. That's going to be the targeted zone to get in on some of the heaviest rainfall. So that would be the truly highest risk. But what happens, though, as we go through the weekend, to give you a better assessment of what could very well happen, is some of that heavy rain might be a little more toward the south. It may not fit exactly where the models are putting it, so we're going to keep ourselves here in a high risk of potentially running into some high water issues. That's why you see us still highlighted in the red there, because there's still that potential out there lurking. Here's our high-resolution hour-by-hour model. We'll go through the next few hours and we're pretty quiet, but we'll get into the afternoon and into the evening, and you notice that the leading edge of this is already starting to work its way a little more toward the south with rounds of heavy rainmakers. With as humid as it is out there, it could easily fire off a decent heavy rain-making shower or thunderstorm at any point with the overall setup of this. Then we go a little bit deeper into the forecast, and you can see more showers and thunderstorms showing up across southern and eastern Kentucky at this point. And one last stop, you can see they start dying out once we get a little deeper into the day and closer to sunset. That's the pattern for you today and into the day tomorrow. Here comes our 7-day, and you're going to see that we're tracking rounds of showers and thunderstorms across Kentucky. Daytime highs, upper 80s today, feels more like 90-ish or higher at times. So just be ready for that, because most of us aren't going to see a lot of rain today. It's going to get more active into tomorrow, so it's going to be more about the heat and humidity, Michelle, as we make our progression through this Saturday.
And this heat's so strong. We were cleaning out the car the other day with our kids.
Yeah?
Oh my God. Well, you know how it is with kids and cars. They become your closet, right?
Oh, do they ever?
So we were out there for like an hour. It was so hot.
And garbage.
So hot.
Garbage everywhere. It's like a garbage.
Garbage,
you
yes.
travel like a garbage bin everywhere you go, right?
Like, this is not our closet, kids.
That's right. Or a garbage can.
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. So there's a lot more news for you on a Saturday morning. A new study shows grandparents are taking on a new role in a different situation. We'll break down those numbers when we come back on WKYT this morning. But before we go to break, tonight's Powerball jackpot is $82 million, and Tuesday night's Mega Millions jackpot, $52 million. We'll be right back. Thank you for joining us on WKYT this morning. Hope you're having a great Saturday so far. So our next story, it's about a new role for many grandparents in Kentucky, being parents to young kids again. The Cabinet for Health and Family Services says there's been a 26% increase in the number of children leaving the state's care and going to live with a relative, many times a grandparent. And many times it's because the parents are struggling with drugs. WKYT's Miranda Combs has the story.
This one was Jacob when he was a baby. And this was his mommy when she was a baby.
You can read a family's history by the pictures on the wall. The good times, mostly.
That's when we went on a cruise last year. He loved it.
But behind this smile is a mom.
I'm 32, and I'm just now getting it together.
That calls this grandmother her share of heartache.
It's a terrible thing. I mean, I used to go hunt for her on the street and try to bring her home. And one day she told me, she says, Mom, you can't do this. You're going to get killed out here. You don't know what you're doing.
So Doris Whitaker stayed back and raised the rest of her family in her Rowan County home and let her daughter, Kayla, deal with her drug addiction in Lexington alone for years.
I was at a very bad place in my life at that point.
And the night she went in labor, she called me. Of course, I went.
And she met her first grandchild.
He was a doll.
But the hospital visit turned into more of a promise.
I had to take him, I had to take care of him.
I felt like he was better off without me if I couldn't get my stuff together.
I didn't know what I was going to do. But the neighbors, everybody found out I was coming home with the baby and had nothing. And by the time I got home with him, I didn't need for anything.
And 7 years went by and hung on the wall.
Did you think about him? A lot. A lot. And I just couldn't get it together. I just couldn't get it together for a long time.
This family is more common than not these days. Rowan County Attorney Cecil Watkins.
I talk to a grandparent every day that's raising their grandkids. Every day.
He says in his county, 90% of the time children are taken from their parents' custody, it's because of drugs. And one of the first calls Child Services makes is to family, grandparents.
They don't have to, and I feel kind of bad for them at different points because, you know, they've already raised one child and then they're having to raise other children.
It's so common in court, his pep talk has a single message. The change in roles make for a long road.
I usually have the conversation with them when it comes to their particular child. Your grandchild's first, and that's priority one.
If he asks questions now, we just try to tell him that she was sick, and it is a sickness.
And now her 7-year-old sees her well.
I'm not where I want to be right now, but I've definitely come a long way from where I was at.
She's been sober almost a year. Her mother still has custody of her son.
He needs his mom. I mean, I'm grandma. Even though, you know, I played the role, I'm still grandma. She's his mother, and she'll be a good one.
Plenty of space for new history to be made.
I'm getting it together slowly but surely, but, you know, I just got to take things one day at a time and not overwhelm myself.
He keeps me young. I mean, you know, when you're up in your 40s running after a little one, they keep you hopping. I mean, I can't say I regretted it. I'm just thankful to have them all back together now.
Great story there. Thanks so much for joining us on this Saturday morning. Guess what? Football season is almost here. We've got more on that coming up in sports.
Overnight, we were tracking some showers and thunderstorms, but this morning things are pretty quiet across in central and eastern Kentucky. Now later today, more showers and storms likely develop. Right now on Defender Radar Network, you're going to find that we are very quiet anywhere you look. Let's head through the hour by hour. We'll get into the afternoon. There you see scattered showers and thunderstorms showing up in the area. Today's not the big day to run into some widespread heavy rain. Though if you get caught under any one of these, they have that potential. But it's not going to be the day where we get a little more organization to them. We go into tomorrow, and that's when the thunderstorms will get a little more active here in the area. That is weather. Now, here's a look at sports.
The football Wildcats wrapped up the first week of preseason camp yesterday, and by all indications, Drew Barker has been performing well. One of the things that their quarterbacks and wide receivers have been working on is the deep ball. New quarterbacks coach Darren Henshaw says the QBs weren't giving the receivers a chance to make a play.
We were overthrowing every deep ball that we threw. Okay, we're just chucking the ball as far as we can throw it, and that's not how you throw a deep ball. 95% of deep balls are not touchdowns, okay? They're completions or they're incompletions. And our goal, and I think their mentality is that when you throw a deep ball that you have to throw it perfect. It's got to land and he's got to catch it and run in the end zone. It doesn't happen that way. Deep balls are caught down the field for explosive plays. Now we're getting to the point where we're throwing the ball where we give the receiver a chance.
Moorhead State's Rob Tenyer has a lot in common with UK's Mark Stoops. Like Stoops, he's entering his 4th season on the job, and like Stoops, he's had a change in culture within the Eagles football program. Tenyer's team finished 7-4 last season. He says just a couple of plays away from being 10-1. This season, the Eagles won't sneak up on anyone, but they're not settling for anything but a league title.
That gained us a lot of confidence too. 7-4, you know, that's no longer satisfactory for us. You know, nothing short of a PFL's championship this year will satisfy us. So, you know, we're going to continue to push each other in practice and do whatever it takes to get that ring.
I want to get to the final 2 or 3 weeks of the season and have a chance to win a championship. Because I think a lot of times in this conference, if you're still in the mix at that point, It means you've had a pretty good season, and you're going to have a chance to compete for a championship that late in the season. And I think that's what it's all about.
That'll do it for your morning sports. Have a great Saturday.
Now at 6:30 on WKYT this morning, an overnight shooting in Lexington sends one man to the hospital. Police say that man is in critical condition. Details on the investigation coming up. We've learned more about how investigators say a federal suspect ended up dead in Harlan County. They say a Lexington firefighter shot him during a joint operation. And it's one of the new 7 wonders of the world. But that doesn't mean Rio's Christ the Redeemer statue is safe from Mother Nature. That story and much, much more coming up on WKYT this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good Saturday morning to you. I'm Michelle Chamberlain. Thanks so much for joining us. I hope everyone out there is enjoying their morning coffee. I think it's going to be a bit rainy today. Jim Caldwell is here to give us a little bit more information. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning to you. Showers and thunderstorms possible again out there today. More chances into your Sunday. Temperatures are starting off on the very warm and muggy side. It's 78 in Lexington. It's 80 in Frankfort. It is right now 6:31, so that tells you everything you need to know about the temperature situation out there. As we head through the rest of the day, we will likely see those temperatures jump even more, with a few chances of some scattered showers and thunderstorms working their way through the Lexington area today and through most of Kentucky. Probably end up in the mid and upper 80s for highs today, with a few of those showers and storms passing through. And you can see, even with our models, that rain kind of comes in and knocks the temperatures down, which is very, very normal. Any thunderstorm that goes up today or tomorrow has the potential to produce some very heavy rain in a short amount of time. That's just the theme and the overall setup with the rainmakers that we have in place. We will track the rest of the rainmakers hour by hour coming up for you in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Jimmy. Lexington police say a man is in critical condition after he was shot overnight. It happened at a home on Dominican Drive around 2:30 this morning. So that's not far from Whitney Young Park off of Georgetown Street and New Circle Road. WKYT's Mike Byer is live in Lexington this morning with what we know so far. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Michelle. A man is fighting for his life here at UK Hospital after being shot overnight. Now, details are still somewhat limited in this investigation, but here's what we know right now. Police say they went to a home in the 400 block of Dominican Drive just after 2:30 this morning. They say when they arrived, they located a man with multiple gunshot wounds, one of those to his leg. At first, police told us the man had non-life-threatening injuries and was taken to UK Hospital, but we got an update from police about an hour later, and they told us the victim was in surgery with life-threatening injuries. At last check with police, the man was still in critical condition, but we don't know the status of his surgery. Now, police don't know what led up to the shooting. They tell us they're still working on figuring out those details. Police don't have a description of the suspected shooter, but they tell us a burgundy passenger car was seen leaving the area where the man was shot. Now, we're told that car sideswiped another car as it left, so it has some damage to it. Again, we're told the man shot is in critical condition, and that's the latest here in Lexington. I'm Mike Byer, WKYT.
We've learned more about how investigators say a federal suspect ended up dead in Harlan County. They say a Lexington firefighter shot him during a joint operation. Mark Sawaf was arrested in June because investigators say he put explosives in trail cameras around Harlan County. Police say Sawaf was brought back to the county from jail to find the remaining explosives. Police say it was part of a joint operation between the ATF, state police, and Lexington fire investigators. Police say Sawaf then tried to run off, forcing Lexington Fire Captain Brad Dubinsky to shoot him.
Well, all that's still under investigation. We do know that an altercation did take place, and during that altercation, deadly force was utilized.
Lexington city leaders say Captain Dubinsky is now on administrative duty. They say all fire investigators have carried weapons since 1996, and this is the first time a Lexington firefighter has been involved in a deadly shooting. Police say one of the cameras that Sawaf is accused of placing explosives in injured a man. Sawaf's father says the explosives are nothing more than a hobby. He also says Sawaf was happy when a judge approved him to show authorities where the remaining explosives were located.
He was upbeat, told his lawyer he's relieved, he cried, that luckily nobody got injured and he wanted to have other people saved.
But police tell us Sawaf tried to run from them, and that's when he was shot by a Lexington fireman. Sawaf's father says authorities handled the situation with what he calls reckless disregard. A man accused of stealing an attorney's truck outside a Whitley County courtroom is now in custody. Williamsburg police say Johnny Mullis was arrested in Caryville, Tennessee. Police say Mullis stole the truck after a hearing, and they say he stole his ex-girlfriend's car later that same day. A man wanted in 2 Kentucky counties is in the hospital after police say he was hit by a car in Powell County while trying to get away from them. It happened in Clay City. Police say earlier this week, Billy Cottle broke into a Richmond car lot's office, and he was wanted in Lee County for escape, fleeing and evading, and wanton endangerment. Police say they caught him in Clay City and handcuffed him, but Cottle still managed to run off. They say he then jumped into traffic near the Mountain Parkway. That's when a car hit him. Witnesses say the driver was in shock.
Went underneath the vehicle, and of course her vehicle's just sitting across the street. She was very upset about it, but he was talking when they put him in the ambulance and everything, so it was not like it was she smashed him or anything.
Cottle was taken to UK hospital. At last check, police say he is stable. Police are now calling the death of a Butler County pastor and his wife a double homicide. Police made the announcement after talking to the state medical examiner's office. Police say Kenneth and Dorothy Nafis were found dead in their home near Morgantown Tuesday afternoon. They have not made any arrests in the case, but they think the suspect could have been injured during the crime. The Elliott County clerk has pleaded guilty to misusing public money. Investigators say a 2014 audit found more than $15,000 missing from Sheila Blevins' office. Her sister, Deputy Clerk Jeanne Moore, also pleaded guilty to the same charge. Now, both face 5 years in prison along with some fines. They'll be sentenced on October 7th. Today is a big day for plenty of students attending the University of Kentucky this year. It's the Big Blue Move-In Day. About half of the student population will start moving back into dorms. Now, the move-ins are expected to significantly impact traffic in and around campus, especially combined with already existing construction going on. You can find out which streets are impacted by the Big Blue Move on WKYT.com. Thousands of people will lace up their running shoes tonight for the annual Midsummer Nights Run here in Lexington. The 5K race starts at the intersection of Limestone and Main Streets. So if you're driving downtown, different streets will be closed between 4 and 11 o'clock. Registration is from 2 to 8 today at the Courthouse Plaza. Remember, you can keep up with the latest traffic changes and track your weekend forecast with the WKYT Weather Plus Traffic app. You can download it for free in the app or Google Play stores. In international news, the Olympics are still going strong, and Christ the Redeemer is one of the new 7 wonders of the world. It's also the #1 attraction for those visiting the Olympic Games. But as Jamie Yucas shows us, even a statue of Jesus is prone to Mother Nature's wrath.
The picturesque statue of Christ the Redeemer sits atop Rio's Corcovado Mountain and is considered the largest Art Deco style sculpture in the world.
Wherever you are in the city, he's looking over you. You can never forget about the Christ, the Redeemer.
Every year, nearly 2 million people get up close and take pictures from every angle. It's Brazil's national icon, and protecting it can be a challenge. The statue sits 2,000 feet up, and because it sits between the mountains and the Atlantic Ocean, it's a prime target for lightning. Workers say it is hit about 6 times a year. The Catholic Church now works with a weather monitoring center, so the busy area can be evacuated during a storm.
There are some people that say that lightning don't hit the same place twice. But the finger of the right hand of the Christ the Redeemer has already been hit more than 10 times.
Christina Ventura is an architect. She says it's her privilege to literally care for Christ. Ventura says copper lightning rods have been placed on the statue to send lightning to the ground.
They are in the tip of the finger, run over the shoulders, and there is a crown on the top of the head. This is all the system of preventing of lightning.
Lightning strikes in 2013 and 2014 did major damage to the statue, breaking off part of the middle finger and thumb. Repairing the statue is quite an undertaking. Architects must go through a rigorous approval process because the stone used in the original is now hard to find and can sometimes be the wrong color. But it's worth it to keep the statue looking like a masterpiece for generations to come. Jamie Yucas, CBS News, Rio de Janeiro.
A local university is now included in a partnership with the construction companies that work to repair the statue. They're working to implement even better protection systems. Back here in Kentucky, school did not start off quite the way one Woodford County girl hoped it would. Someone stole her bike. Kaja was getting ready for the first day of 3rd grade when her aunt noticed something strange. She saw a young man riding a little girl's bike, which ended up being Kaja's. But the 3rd grader has some friends in high places since her aunt works as a dispatcher for the Versailles Police Department.
Yesterday I got the idea and told Teddy, said we got to get Kaja a bike. She's missing it. But she got a big smile on her face and she hopped right on it and took off, so she loved it.
Officer Sloan and Officer Teddy Milton are 2 of Kaja's favorite officers. Police found her original bike after giving her a new one. She decided to give that bike to her brother. Great story there, right? Your time now is 6:40 on this Saturday morning. If you're a fan of Facebook, this next story is for you. The social media giant is making some changes when it comes to advertisement. That's coming up after Jim's forecast.
And I've got a forecast that's going to include rounds of showers and thunderstorms, maybe even some heavy stuff as we get toward the end of the weekend. I'll break it all down coming up.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
Temperatures already at a very uncomfortable level out there this morning. Upper 70s, low 80s are showing up across most of central and eastern Kentucky. What that tells me automatically, and especially this time of year, is we are dealing with a high level of humidity in the air because it's helped stabilize temperatures all night long and kept them to this type level. Now tomorrow we'll probably, or later today, we'll probably end up in the upper 80s. Same thing tomorrow, mid and upper 80s. Then you throw in the humidity and it makes it feel a whole lot worse out there. Down to our south, we've got a system that's going to be pumping in moisture. It has been already this week. Any of those broken showers, thunderstorms that we've picked up on have been at least in some form directly related to this system as it's been pumping in all that moisture. And now it's pumping it in to a frontal boundary. That frontal boundary which is eventually going to stall out just a little bit closer to Kentucky. And that will mean rounds of showers and thunderstorms, maybe even some heavy rain from time to time. That's why there's a flash flood watch posted. Now, it only includes a couple of counties in our area, more so into southern Illinois, southern Indiana, southern Ohio, all of those locations. Broaden it out a little bit, and it also could include parts of central Kentucky. But you see, even with our NAM, which is one of the models that we use, it's picking up on the heaviest rainfall being in this area. But the thing is, some of the other trends have pushed it a little bit deeper into our area. So you have to kind of expand your mind a little bit and be ready for the potential of some heavier rain being around here as well. And we're going all the way through Tuesday with this one. By the way, some of those totals are impressive. 4 or 5 inches of rain between right now and Tuesday night at 11 o'clock. So plenty of rain involved with this system. And we're also tracking the tropical air. That's tough to say, tracking tropical. Everywhere you see yellow, by the way, that means tropical. And if you notice, we're in Kentucky, and it is under that tropical air mass for days to come. We're into your Sunday all day long. We're talking your dew points are likely going to be in the 70s, so tropical air is locked in. That's going to help feed the showers and thunderstorms. When you have that type of air mass, any one of these storms, even though they're not impressive with the coverage today, could produce heavy rains because of the moisture content in the air. Most of it falling where you are seeing that heavy rain showing up on the precipitation model. So we look at that. We get into your Sunday, and I think we'll have even more rounds of showers and thunderstorms sweep into the area here. A few storms out there today. Better chances as we make a transition into Sunday and into Monday, because that could be the kind of the key period that we run into high or flash flood potential around here.
Good to know, Jimmy. Do you put your weather forecast on Facebook?
As much as I possibly can. I haven't done it yet, though. I've got to get on
You need
that.
to do that.
I need to get on
Because you know
that.
what? A lot of people are on Facebook.
They are.
People check that Facebook all throughout the day, really.
They do check it all the time. And now Facebook is making some changes. Here's the latest in the CNET.com update.
Facebook is battling ad blockers. Facebook announced changes to its newsfeed with the goal to defeat ad blockers. According to the New York Times, Facebook's plan would be to make content and ads indistinguishable to ad blockers. Facebook also said it updated its ad preferences controls so that users had more control over what they saw. Facebook's ad blocker would only work on the desktop version of Facebook. Facebook will not go around ad blockers on mobile devices. The company said it would take an ad blocker too many resources to attempt to parse out ads from content. So, of course, AdBlock Plus, a popular ad blocker, found a workaround within 2 days. However, Facebook says AdBlock Plus's workaround also filters out things other than ads. The battle wasn't over at this point. According to TechCrunch, Facebook then upgraded its methods and now has a workaround for AdBlock Plus's workaround. You got that? In short, Facebook's newest ad blocker should block AdBlock Plus's ad blocking, which defeated Facebook's old ad blocker. Clear as mud, right? Let me try that again. Facebook wants you to see ads on the desktop, and if you have an ad blocker installed, Facebook will keep trying to defeat it. That's it for this Tech News Update. I'm Maya Akhtar, and you can stay on top of the biggest stories at cnet.com/update.
Very interesting, right?
It is interesting, and I'll have the Facebook forecast over there soon.
You know what they want me to do? They want us to do Facebook Live during our commercial break that we're about to go to.
Well, let's do it, and you can see behind the scenes, right?
Go to WKYT's Facebook page, and we'll be live. See you in a minute.
A popular restaurant chain is closing some of its locations, and a new luxury hybrid is set to give Tesla some competition. I'm Marley Hall, and I'll have those stories and more coming up in your CBS Money Watch report.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Welcome back to WKYT This Morning. A casual restaurant chain is closing nearly 100 locations. Plus, Tesla may have some competition in the electric car industry. Marley Hall has the latest on your money.
Ruby Tuesday announced it's closing 95 locations by September. The casual restaurant chain hasn't said which of its more than 700 locations would be going out of business. The company plans to revamp its menu as part of its Fresh Start initiative. Wall Street closed the week mixed. The Dow lost 37 points Friday. The Nasdaq gained 4. Major retailers announced their second quarter sales Friday. Macy's, Kohl's, and Nordstrom all posted losses that were improved over first quarter. Analysts say it's encouraging news for the retailers and their outlook for the rest of the year. Both Kohl's and Macy's announced plans to close some of its stores. And a new luxury electric hybrid vehicle is giving Tesla a run for its money. Karma Automotive unveiled the Rivero. The sleek sedan comes with a solar rooftop. The official price tag won't be revealed until next month, but it's expected to top $100,000. That's your Money Watch. For more, log on to CBSMoneyWatch.com. In New York, I'm Marley Hall.
Welcome back. It's going to be a busy Saturday here in Lexington. Take a look at what's happening today. Today is Big Blue Move, and about half of the student population will start moving back onto UK's campus. Now, the move-ins are expected to significantly impact traffic in and around campus, especially combined with the already existing construction that's taken place. You can find out which streets are impacted by the Big Blue Move on our website, WKYT.com. Thousands of people will lace up their running shoes tonight for the annual Midsummer Nights Run here in Lexington. The 5K race starts at the intersection of Limestone and Main Streets. So if you're driving downtown, different streets will be closed between 4 and 11 o'clock tonight. Registration is from 2 to 8 at the Courthouse Plaza. You can lace up your walking shoes and help raise money to cure a mysterious disease. Tonight is the 2016 Walk to End Lupus. The walk is the signature event for the Lupus Foundation of America. Check-in starts at 5 o'clock this evening at Keeneland. The walk starts at 7 and it's just 1 mile. Proceeds from the walk will go to the foundation.
And we're only dealing with scattered chances of showers and thunderstorms out there today, but that might not even be the big issue with the world and the world of weather, at least today. It'll be the temperatures, because later today we're going to get in the upper 80s and throw in the humidity, and it is going to be miserable out there for many of us. We're in the 70s right now. Here's an hour-by-hour look at the heat index. By noontime, it already feels almost like 90. Now, what this is picking up on is that better chance of showers and storms showing up north of Kentucky and into northern parts of Kentucky, so naturally cooler there. Mid-90s heat index values throughout central and parts of eastern Kentucky today. That's what it'll feel like when you walk outside. And then we get into your Monday, and we're in the mid-90s there as well. So a lot of heat and humidity showing up around here throughout the weekend. And what we've got for you is more showers and thunderstorms sweeping into Kentucky. Highest risk for flash flood potential highlighted here in red, and that is about into central Kentucky and then all the way up into southern parts of Indiana, southern Ohio, and southern Illinois. So that's going to be the main areas of concern. I really think it's going to be north of here, but we're certainly going to be right there on the fringe. So we're going to keep that potential thrown into the mix. We are so glad you're along with us here on WKYT this morning. We've got a whole lot more coming up for you here in our next hour. Stay right here on WKYT so we'll keep you up to date.